Believe Nation, happy Thursday. Another IG Live for the day. Again, Thursday is my public facing day, so I spend the whole day doing interviews and podcasts and hangouts and put my extrovert hat on. For a natural introvert, this is my extrovert day to spread the message, to meet some cool people, and to hopefully introduce you to some fun people as well. Finding Mom Joe in the house. Wow, finding Mom Joe. It's been a long time since I last saw you guys. I hope all is well. Terry, I see you in the house. Welcome. Let's see. I'm looking to introduce you to somebody new today that I'm very excited by. And let's see if I can see them here in the chat. Let's wait for them to join in. I'm going to introduce you to somebody who has some interesting knowledge to share with us in the chat. We're going to bring him in. This should be a fun one. Okay, I sent the invite. You guys are going to learn something today. I'm going to learn something today. This will be fun. Connecting.
Now I can hear you.
Hey,
there we go.
We're here.
Let me get myself set.
Yeah, no problem.
I was muted there for a while.
That's okay. I had to invite you in. We made it happen.
I'm trying to set this up here, and I'm having bad luck. Just a minute.
No problem. That's looking good.
Are we good?
Yeah, that's looking good. Okay, we're here. It's happening. And sometimes that happens where the phone falls down, the Instagram Lives. That's the nature of the beast. But ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bill Hirsch in the house. He wrote a new book called The Well-Centered Home that I've been learning about, and I'm super excited by it. Now, here's the promise of the book. So it's thinking of your home in a spiritual way, which I'm already excited by. And then he says that your home can energize and recharge you. It can increase your mindfulness and help you feel at peace. I'm loving
it. That's the idea. One way to think of it is if you think about a place where you've been or you go to that makes you feel more comfortable, all of a sudden you get there, your blood pressure goes down, you feel more at peace, everything sort of slows down. That's exactly the same sort of feeling that your home can create in you. And that's what I term the well-centered home, one that sort of recharges you emotionally and puts you in that restful, more mindful state of mind.
I love it. So I'm here. This is my home office, which now, thanks to COVID, I'm basically here all the time because there's no traveling and no speaking and nothing else happening. So I've been a huge fan of trying to organize my environment to make me believe in myself more and give me the energy and positivity. So I would love your opinion, your audit. I could show you quickly like what I've got going on here. How do I kind of self-assess if this is the pebbles, as you call it, the things that are causing anxiety versus the pearls, that the things that make us come alive? Like how do we take my office here and make it a case study for the people watching?
Well, the very first thing I think is critically important is to do some earth grounding. Okay. And earth grounding would be to get you a better connection with nature.
Okay.
So this could be done by improving a view out the window, so that you take a peek out there once in a while and you remind yourself of your position on the earth.
Okay. Wait. So what? Oh, how? Okay. Hold on. So look, this is how I'm standing. Now I'm standing on a trampoline. I'm not actually on the ground. If that makes a difference. But
I heard you do that.
Yeah. So this is my view, right? So you can see here, I'm on the wellcenteredhome.com website. You can go check it out and see the books. And then beyond that, that's kind of the view outside. It looks out to some trees and skyline and everything else out there. So I stand like this, kind of looking out into this. This is my day-to-day living. So we're a fan of that. You want to be looking out into nature.
Absolutely. Okay. It connects you. There have been medical studies that show that people recover from surgeries or illnesses faster if they have just a visual connection with nature. It could even be artwork. It doesn't actually have to be nature, and it's been a measurable difference a measurable improvement for people to recover faster and put themselves in a better state of mind.
Now, are you seeing artwork in general? Like, is that artwork or artwork of
Artwork
nature?
of nature.
Okay, got it.
Let me try to get this phone here set a little bit better. How's that?
Yeah, that looks good.
All
Okay,
right.
so is there a conscious thing? So this is my setup that I put up, and I'm working in here, during my workday. But is there a conscious? You said remembering or reminding yourself. Like, is there a conscious effort that I have to put in as well on a daily basis?
No. That's kind of the beauty of it, is that once you get things set up, that the effect happens almost automatically. It just occurs because you're interacting with what we architects call the built environment. And you can manipulate that environment any way that you please to make it be advantageous to you.
Okay, so grounding. So I think I got that pretty well covered. I'm looking out the window, giant window, all the time, as long as it's, hopefully sunny outside.
That's a good thing.
That's a good thing.
And,
although I don't always have the blinds open. I guess your advice would be always have it open and let the sun shine in.
well, a fair amount, unless it interferes with you being able to see your computer screens and things.
Right.
So my next question is, do you know what orientation that window is? Is it north, south, east, or west?
Ooh, okay, so
Most people don't know the answer to this question off the top of their head.
no, I should know. So this is west. So okay, so if we look at my desk here, that direction is west. So I am looking southwest on a daily. My view is southwest.
Okay, so you don't have the morning sun, right?
No, I have the afternoon sun. Yeah.
Okay, and that'll be a time you probably want to pull the shades.
Sometimes a little bit.
Right, and that's all right. That earth grounding does not have to be a full-time thing, but in people's homes, they often neglect that connection with outside. So they may have curtains that obscure a view. They could open them wider. They could put something out into their yard, like a decorative planting, that now they have a focal point to react to. And they would react to that on a subconscious basis. You don't have to walk by the window, look out, see the nice view and go, oh, this is making me feel better, but it's doing it anyway. So that's kind of a key part of it. You mentioned the pebbles and pearls. Now, the pebbles are things that are disruptive of the energy in your home. Mm-hmm. They're things that are annoyances. And many times they're things that you've gotten very used to, and you don't even recognize them as annoyances anymore. But your inner self still sees that as an annoyance. The pearls would be additive things, special bonuses that you put in to make yourself happier, things that are delight for the eye, things that are just pleasing, things that connect you with other people. And that gets into a concept that I discuss called peopling. And peopling a space involves making it be a space for people and connected to people.
Okay.
And I'll give you an example of that. Have you ever noticed how people in general like things that are man-made, handmade, rather than things that are machine-made?
Sure.
We sort of lean that way. And that doesn't really make any sense when you consider that the handmade item is going to be less perfectly made than the machine-made item. But we prefer the imperfect, more or the less perfect, let's say, item that's been handmade. And why is that? It's because we connect with the person who made it. We don't realize it, but there's a human connection there. You recognize that a hand touched it, or that a person thought about it as they put it together. And that makes it more valuable for calming your psyche and making you be more mindful and self-aware. And as a result of that, you end up being happier. So the more items you can have like that in your home, not to excess, of course, but if you can choose items that have a connection to people, even people you've never met or people a long time ago, these tend to increase the level of happiness, and those become pearls.
And that's all, again, not a conscious activity that you're doing to look at the object and try to connect with it. You're saying it just happens automatically.
Right. Yeah, the conscious part would happen while you're deciding what to put where. Big part of centering your home is attuning yourself to that and getting your, what I call putting your antenna up, so that you're seeing your home in a more kind of critical or analytical way, excuse me, than you might otherwise. And so during that process, you'd be making these decisions about what you could do or not do. So the pebbles that you might have, like maybe there's a bad view out your window and you'd like to screen that, and maybe there's some way that you can do that with an outside shutter that just sort of acts like a blinder and trims that off. Or if you have a view inside your house, that maybe you walk down a long hallway to the bedrooms and there's just a blank wall there, and that is depleting your inner emotional energy to look at that. Well, turn it around and think about, what can I put at the end of that hallway that is delightful? It might be an art image of nature, potentially.
Right.
And it might have a light on it so that your eye is drawn to it. And what happens then, you've added the pearl of having something that delights the eye, entertains your mind, but it also shortens the passage down that hallway. Because when you turn the corner and you look down that hallway, your awareness goes to the end of the hallway before you actually do. And now your body just goes and catches up to your awareness. You're like transmitting your awareness into the different parts of your home. And the hallway is no longer a journey anymore. You're almost like teleporting yourself there in a way. You turn the corner, you're there emotionally, and your body catches up. And now it becomes an additive part of your day to turn that corner and see that focal point that you've created. So these are the sorts of things that I write about, and they're things that aren't really overtly on people's radar to think about. But many times, once I mention them, explain them, people will say, "Oh yeah, I've felt that," and now that you say it, I'm more aware of it, and then they can make these adjustments and improve the centering of their home.
I love it. Let me show you what my wife does. I think you're gonna like her setup better than mine. So as I go out here, we set up. Oh, there she's working. Hey, Nina. So
hello.
This giant window, and she has a stand-up desk, and that's looking full south. So she's got,
there you go.
It's southeast and southwest, and she's basically just in front of that window all day long. Well, all day kind of work day long, working.
There you go.
Whatever. Okay, now how about plants? Nina loves plants. She's got 2 here, she's at one of her desks. Like, plants seem to be everywhere, maybe except my office. What,
are you the one with the brown thumb?
I am definitely the one with the brown thumb. Yes, my wife is the one with the green thumb for sure. Is my office in need of plants? What's your recommendation?
Well, that would be your personal preference. One of the things that I have in my book is a home body quiz that helps you learn more about yourself.
Four kinds, right?
Right. But first, let me mention about plants. They are another peopling effect because they require maintenance. They have to be watered, possibly trimmed, which means another person has been there. Might have been you, but another person has been there recently, and you make a subconscious connection with that person just because you realize that there's maintenance involved.
So if I had a plant on my desk here that my wife was watering every week or whatever,
perfect.
I subconsciously would be more connected to my wife because that plant's in my office.
And there you'd have a happier life, wouldn't you?
And I'd have a happier life. Wow, Nina, I don't know if you heard that. I need a plant. This is great.
So anyway, on the homebody quiz, this is to help give people some guidance about what their innate preferences might be and their tendencies might be, not to dictate to them and not to fully categorize you, but just to help you understand yourself a little bit more. And there are 4 homebody types: an Astaire, named after Fred Astaire, a Plato, a Galileo, and a Nightingale. And they are effectively, the Astaire would be the entertainer, for a short description, more outgoing person, maybe likes more vibrant colors and things like that. The Plato would be a more contemplative person who is kind of thinking about the inner meaning of things. Galileo would be a more technically oriented person who wants to know the why of things and how they work. And then the Nightingale would be the nurturer. So the person who really likes plants might very well be the Nightingale.
Yeah. So I'm probably like a Plato Galileo hybrid in there from the description.
And you can be, because unlike other tests, you can put multiple answers in for this one. The idea being that you then can learn your secondary tendencies. So personally, I wrote the test and then put it away for several months so I could get an objective analysis of myself.
Okay.
And I turned out to be a Plato with Astaire tendencies. So a little more outgoing and liking, brighter, shiny things, let's say, but not that being my entire personality. I'm not the big party goer or anything like that, but I enjoy contact with other people. But I really do like to ponder why things are the way they are and sort of analyze them that way. So, my own example would be, it gives me a deeper insight than if I was just categorized as one homebody. And then that information can guide you and give you reassurance about the decisions you make as you center your home. We even have sample color palettes for the personality types. So they would be, it's not the be all end all, you have to use these colors, but they send you in a direction where you say, all right, these colors would suit your homebody type. I have a friend who's a super interior designer and a real color genius, and she helped me put these together. So she's the most expert color person I know. So we thought we'd get people started that way instead of them walking in and having the 10,000 colors in front of them. This would give them a good direction, not just for paint, but for fabric colors and things like that.
So it sounds like there are some things that are for everybody, like the grounding and the sun and getting exposure and just human-made objects. And then there
Correct.
are some things that are based off of your homebody type that might be a pearl for you or might be a pebble for you. Like the same thing might fall into different categories depending on your personality.
Right. Like we're all going to get on the same highway, but then you pick your lane.
Okay.
And your lane might be a Galileo or might be a Plato. But you're allowed to change lanes too.
Okay. So if we role played with me, and let's say I'm a Plato with some Galileo tendencies, what do I need to be mindful of in my environment here, in my home, that would make me be more connected?
I would say that if you had a couple of objects that made you think about them, how they were made or what they do, and they were not necessarily technical ones, like, a clock with lots of gears might be more for the Galileo person, but a clock that was an interesting design and maybe it referenced the moon and the sun could be a nice feature to have in there, that when you look at it, it kind of sets your mind to thinking about it and a little bit of contemplation.
Okay.
That sort of thing.
Somebody in the live stream is asking, what about candles? What's the impact of candles?
Well, candles are good. Candles, again, are a maintenance item. and require somebody to light them. So it has the peopling effect of connecting you. And they also sort of tick away time, right? They don't last forever. So they have a definitive lifespan, and that puts you in synchronization with the time clock that's all around us, which is our day and night and the rotation of the earth. And the more you can synchronize yourself with the cycles and powers of nature, which candles certainly would, the happier your mind is. And that's what it's really all about. Again, it's not a matter of you sitting down and really pondering those things. It's all kind of happening to you subconsciously and makes you happier and lets you feel more calm. Another part of a candle is it does focus your attention. And that's always a good centering thing. And one other item that we didn't mention yet is security is a key part of being well-centered. And that doesn't mean that you're keeping the bad guys out, although that's always a good thing.
Right.
Security means that you're in your personal space. You could be sitting in a high-back chair so that you were defining the space around yourself more closely rather than sitting in a chair out in the middle of an open room. You know, you go into a restaurant, do you usually pick the table in the middle of the restaurant or do you pick a booth?
Right. I'd be in a booth.
Yeah, almost all of us do,
Okay.
unless you had trouble getting in and out of a booth. And why do we do that? Well, there's a defined space there that the table in the middle of the room doesn't have. And we react to it. We don't think about it, but we react to it. So you get in the booth, you're in your zone and your space and with your group. And these kinds of spaces can be defined within your home too by arrangements of furniture, small separations, even a screen like I have behind me, so you can't see the mess on my bookshelf back there. But let's suppose you had an apartment where you walked right in the door and now you were immediately in the living room. That's awkward because there's no transition space. But if you had a small screen there, so when you stepped in, you weren't quite all the way in the room, and then you stepped one more step beyond that, so you were out of your little foyer you've created. That is a more comfortable way to enter the space, and it gives your mind a chance to adjust to the spaces. It's kind of like you can't shift from forward to reverse without going through neutral, right? You know, so or you strip all the gears. So you need a neutral sometimes as you go from one room to another. It's nice to have a little space that takes you from your living space to your bedroom, but not immediately into the bedroom. All these things make things more comfortable. And I offer a number of suggestions about how to do that at every level in the house, or in your home rather. So it could be a very small apartment that does this, or it could be a very large house. And actually, smaller houses are easier to center than larger ones. Less to deal with. They tend to be more human scaled, and that's all to your benefit from an emotional standpoint.
Yeah, that's what I loved about your content, is that there seems to be an answer for everybody, regardless of the size of your space. There's always, it may not be perfectly ideal, but there's always something you can do to make it better. And
right.
And what I also love is that a lot of it, maybe apart from some of the maintenance items like candles or plants, most of the stuff that you do, you just set it up once and then you're set. Right.
One of the items, though, but it's good to have a little maintenance in there.
Right.
One of the items I think is really beneficial, especially in an apartment, would be like a little bonsai tree, because it does require you to maintain it, but you don't have to do it every day. And it's this miniature image of nature in a complex way, more so than just a potted plant would be. And so you're bringing in that earth grounding aspect, you're bringing in that peopling aspect because of the maintenance, and then you're adding in that emotionally rejuvenating aspect of seeing nature. So you come in from your hard day of work, if we ever all go to the office again, and you come in and you want to be restored in one fashion or another, and seeing things like that and having the irritating things in your home removed and adding those pebbles and adding these pearls in, all of those contribute to you waking up the next morning being fully recharged.
Any recommendations in the bedroom? Just super quick.
Well, bedrooms, I don't think they should have high ceilings personally, and I think that you don't want to, if you can, you don't want to arrange the furniture in a way that when you walk into the bedroom, you're looking like right at the pillows, because it removes some of the security. So that if you can have it that you enter the room and then you would turn to see the headboard and the pillows, that makes it be a one more gradation removed from the public spaces, your living room spaces, and it becomes more private. Depending on your personality, your homebody type, you might want to look at the colors that you have in there. A nightingale homebody type would probably favor a good deal of soft textures, pillows, and things of that nature. And then the big thing is to remove those annoying lights that are terrible pebbles for when you're trying to sleep. The little blue light on your electronics and or on the electronics, like your cable box or something, has got the number on there and you can't turn it off. Put some tape over that thing.
I love it. Well, Bill, it's crazy how quickly time flies when you're having fun. Everybody watching, the book is called The Well-Centered Home, Bill Hirsch, or I think it's William Hirsch on the cover. We'll link it up for YouTube down in the description below. For people who want to get the book, Amazon, is that the best spot? Where do you want them to go?
Yep, Amazon. There's paperback and ebook, and an audiobook will be available any day now. And then our website, if you want to read more about it, is www.wellcenteredhome.com. So you can read more about it there, and you can learn more about the homebody quiz there too. That's fun to do, and I'd love to hear your results when you get all done.
Next step is the plant. We got to get that plant in the office. I'm going to talk to my wife right now. We'll figure that out.
Yeah, you may find yourself painting a different color or whatever.
I love it. Bill, thank you for your energy, your time, for the free assessment, and appreciate all the work that you're doing. Thank you for coming on.
Well, thanks for having me on the show. Sorry to be so clumsy on the setup. I thought I had things together.